If you are here, please say that you are here. Representative Sir.
Here.
Audio.
I think you muted
There we go.
yourself, Lauren.
Yeah, I leaned on it. I'm sorry. Representative Bailey.
Here.
Representative Sombrero.
Here.
All right. And just in case I missed them, Representative Kopp, I believe. Representative Kopp. Representative, I'm sorry, I don't have my roll in front of me.
I don't see her. We just have the 4 right now.
Okay, then we can start. I believe our
You cut out again?
Oh. It's when the assistant gets rambunctious, she mutes herself.
I'm so sorry. He's very excited, but just very noisy. So our first account that we're going to look at is legislative policy. We're on page 51 in our budget books. I believe, Mr. Burt, you're here to speak on this account. There was no change from the council, correct?
Right.
All right.
Just pull up this stuff. Did you, okay. I just want to make sure we hit everything up. Like on my list, we had fire pilots first. We're gonna do.
Okay.
That's fine for me.
No, I don't have, the agenda doesn't list out the individual accounts for each meeting. It just says budget items.
No,
I'm,
you have to look at the second page, Lauren.
oh, okay, that's my fault then. Oh, there it is, yes. Oh, we can start with the fire districts, that's fine. So we're actually on account 1092, page 181 in the budget book. All right, do we have anyone here besides yourself, Mr. Burt, to speak on this? Or is it just you?
It's me.
Okay, would you like to say anything about this item?
Sure. If you look at page 181, you'll see where the funds come from. Half of the funds come from 121,000 of funds come from payment in lieu of real estate taxes from the state. We have, when there's state land, of course, we don't receive taxes. This money comes to us to help offset that, and then we share part of it with the fire departments. And then the fire district mill taxes on town-owned property. Basically, we give money out of the general fund to make up for us not paying for any fire mill rates. But the total amount is $246,000, which has not changed since before I arrived. I've been that way for at least 10 years. There was an original formula for how to break that out, and it's remained the same. Now that is a referral for possibly next year. The Justice Public Safety Committee is going to look at this to see if there's any changes warranted, but for now, this is set kind of historically.
And the 246 is the set number from the state that we receive?
No, the 121,000 of it came from the state. The remainder just came out of general fund to make up for us not paying them the mill for fire department service.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Do any members of the committee have any questions for Mr. Burt before making a motion?
Yes, just a quick question. The last time I was aware of these fire district things, Paquonic Bridge was struggling quite a bit. Is it doing okay now?
It is. It's doing very well.
Okay, great.
Do we have a motion for this item?
I move
Okay.
the number 246.
I second.
All right, so that was Sombrero at 246 and Surf seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Excellent. All right, so that passes at 246,000 for account 1092. We're moving on to the regional agencies, 1083, which is going to be found, account 1083, found on page 169 in your budget books. This is the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments, Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region, Southeastern Area Transit Authority, and Southeastern Connecticut Regional Probate Court. I believe we have a few people here for these items. Do we have anyone from the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments?
I think he wanted to come, but there was a last minute change. He wasn't able to. I could say that they do a fantastic service. Of course, we get a lot of our transportation funds through the COG. So they way more than pay for their for the membership.
So, oh, I was just going to ask a procedural question. Are we moving this by cost center or as a total?
By each item.
Yeah, okay.
So this would just be the COG first.
Okay. All right. So in that case, do we have any questions on the COG from committee members?
We're going to move all of them together.
One at a time. So this this year's request is $15,963.
Okay, we're starting out with the COG then.
Yes, we're starting with the COG.
Okay. Shall I move that figure then?
If you
Or-
would like to.
Okay, I'll move the figure of $15,963.
Bailey,
Okay.
second.
Any discussion?
Not really. I've actually met somebody who's very intimately involved with the COG, so he was able to familiarize me with what they do, and it is definitely very worthwhile to Groton.
Great. All right, so all those in favor? Aye. Any
I,
opposed? Abstentions? That passes in the amount of 15,963. Account 1083-1. So that's sector. Mr. White-Scarver, you're here for sector? Paul White-Scarver? Yeah. Yeah, I see. Would you like to say anything about this item?
Hey, I'm here.
Hi. Would you like to say anything about your account?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region or sector has been here since 1992. We're a sister partner to the COG. We do regional economic development for the entire region, and these funds come from each municipality. We do non-traditional loans, we do small business development, and we create the comprehensive economic development strategy for the region. Paige Bronk is on our board of directors, who is part of your town, and we do a great deal of work with Sam Eisenberger as well. You know, so I think this is well worth the funds that you send, and your funds, along with all of the other 22 municipalities and boroughs, allow us to function and provide input to not only the Department of Economic and Community Development, but also to the Economic Development Agency as part of the Secretary of Commerce.
Great. Thank you so much. Representative Sir, if you have a question.
yes, I do. I don't know if you're aware of the fact that we've recently have had quite a great deal of the residents finding controversy with two of our largest development projects, the Mystic Oral School and the data centers. And I'm wondering if you're associated with that, because what I would be looking for in your organization is some long-term experience and some continuity in the organization, which would help us at times like this. And do you provide that for us?
No, so sector has not, you know, most of that is part of your planning department, and I think the town manager can you know, discuss that. I mean, we did not participate in any of those negotiations, or we were not part of any of the process involved with that. If you'd like sector to be a part of that, we'd love to participate.
Well, I definitely think you should be part of it because of, as I said, you're an organization where there's continuity
Mhm.
in the membership. And I think that's very important, you know, in terms of knowing about the history of towns and stuff like that. So can you give us, if you didn't participate in those, can you give us an example of something that you did participate in this year? I know you sent a very long document, which I'm sorry to say I haven't had time to read, but could you just give us like a simple example of one or two things that you did in Groton?
Well, one of the things that you know, not per se to Groton, but we are part of the Build Back Better Regional Challenge Phase 2 grant. We're about to bring $60 million of investment into the region for workforce investment, for site selection, for future suppliers to the wind industry. We're helping Business Park North up in Norwich for its development for the wind industry. You know, we are a great voice for the region. As far as what we've done for Groton, you know, I don't have the number. I think it was in your letter, the amount of loans that we provided for small businesses or business startups within the town of Groton. You know, I think the big thing that we do is any federal grant that you want to go through the EDA, because we are an economic development district, you know, you physically have to have, or you have to have a written letter of support from us just to have it sent to the EDA, you know. So when we do our comprehensive economic development strategy, Paige Bronk is part of that. We invite several business members to participate. We'll invite John Burt to participate. You know, so one of the things I think we struggle with in this region is, you know, each town or borough, you know, think separately about economic development, where we really need to think regionally. You know, your affordable housing is different than the affordable housing in Ledyard. But, you know, when we try to bring in a workforce, or as I'm sure you've been reading in the paper, you know, we don't have enough people to fill all the jobs in this region. You know, so how do you bring people into the area? Well, one of that is, you know, what's the regional plan for affordable housing? It's not just a Groton problem, it's a region problem. You know, those are the kind of things that we try to tackle here at Sector. Hopefully that makes sense to you.
It totally makes sense, and I really appreciate the explanation. I just have a very quick suggestion. I've been in this area for over 70 years. They were all very independent, and there's nothing you can do to change that. But it seems to me that if you wanted to invite them all together on an issue such as affordable housing, which everybody knows we need, then you need to invite the whole lot of us to talk about just affordable housing, nothing else.
No,
That
I
would work.
totally agree. And I would love, you know, I'll talk to John and also, you know, some of the other leaders in the area. You know, we have the COG meeting, but I would like to have a sector meeting with all the municipal leaders, because I think that's what we need to do to make sure we're thinking regionally versus independently like that.
Yeah, I think that would work. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your input. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee? I'll hear a motion for a number. The original ask is 13,444.
Okay, I'll move that the number of 13,000. Uh-oh, lost
Bailey,
my page.
second. Bailey, second.
Bailey, second. All right, all those in favor? I'm
Aye.
sorry, is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that passes in the amount of, what did I say, 13,444. Moving on to
Thanks
108.
for letting me participate.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Whitescarver.
Thanks.
So moving on to 10832, this is SEAT, the Southeastern Area Transit Authority. I saw we had Mr. Carroll on to speak to this account. They're asking for 95,456. Would you like to speak on this, Mr. Carroll?
Real quickly, if everybody can hear me okay.
Just a reminder, Southeast Area Transit is the region's public transportation provider. We leverage both federal and state funds. The local contribution, the amount we're requesting from the town of Groton, it represents about 8 or 9% of our total operating budget for the town of Groton. We provide fixed route transit service, dedicated Route 11 circulating through the town. And then we also provide connecting service with routes 2, 3, and 108, connecting New London, Norwich, Mystic, and ultimately Foxwoods. And we also provide ADA paratransit service, which is mandated by the federal government, which is service for those folks who have a disability that prevent them from using the fixed route public transit service. Happy to provide service. As I said, we're a regional entity. We leverage a fair amount of federal and state funding. We bring probably about, in the last 5 years or so, about $20 or $30 million in federal and state capital funds to the region with no local contribution required. And I'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee?
I have a quick question. Do you also service the Mystic area?
Yes, we have that 108 bus leaves New London, then goes through Groton, and then continues on to Old Mystic Village, and then ultimately out to Foxwoods. And we have a local service in Mystic Stonington, running between Mystic Stonington and the Pawcatuck. That has been converted to a demand response service. It's known now as the seat hop service.
But there's nothing from downtown Groton to Mystic, for instance.
Nothing direct, no. It would require a transfer from the 108 from Groton, the 2 major transfer points, and then continue on to Old Mystic Village, and then you could connect to the hop service to get to downtown Mystic. But the hop service doesn't go across the bridge into the Groton port of Mystic at this time.
Okay.
Just to mention, we are having some discussions of that type of thing though, so we're exploring things.
Sure,
Yeah.
yes, we would be glad to work with the town to see if there's some opportunities to expand service into that area.
I'm thinking about relieving the parking problems in downtown Mystic. If we could, we have plenty of parking in Groton on the weekends, for instance, and if we could encourage people to take the bus from downtown Groton to Mystic instead of trying to park there, it'd be wonderful. I know that's one of the things. And is it hard for you to expand your routes if you have proper financing? Or?
Well, that's the key. You brought the key point. That really is the key question. So if we can provide the funding, combination of local and state funds, usually we can certainly look to expand or add service. So be glad to do it.
Great, thank you.
Hi,
Okay, we have to move the number again, right?
I have a quick question. What's the biggest demand of this budget ask? Is this personnel? Is this upkeep of the vehicles? What is a lot of this going to?
It's basically a higher operating cost figure. So the biggest cost driver for public transit, 2/3 of our operating budget is labor and fringe. It takes people to drive buses still, so that's really the big driver on the cost. The second biggest item would probably be fuel cost and maintenance cost for the vehicles.
And you're able to fully staff your routes? Not an issue there?
It's been challenging, like everybody else, and we're constantly advertising for drivers. But for the most part, we've been able to maintain the service, and we're happy to maintain the service throughout the pandemic as well. We never shut down, although we did reduce service a little bit during the height of the pandemic. But if anybody out there has a CDL and wants to have a good paying job with excellent benefits, come see me and we'll probably be able to hire them.
Have you been able to restore any service cuts due to the pandemic, or are you still operating lower?
No, we've pretty much restored full service. We did some adjustments on some service. So we did eliminate Sunday service, which was very limited, consisted of only 4 buses running, limited hours from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we shifted some routes around and beefed up service in a couple other areas, and actually added a route serving Norwich to Foxwoods, which we never had as well. So in terms of total service hours, we're back to full levels. We're certainly trying to get additional funding from the state to actually expand service.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
If anyone has a motion for a number, I'll entertain that now.
I would just have one more quick question, which is that how full are your buses on the average? Do you feel that they could be more full if you had more advertising or people knew about the buses, or all in the spirit of trying to help with climate change?
Sure. I mean, it kind of, the short answer is it depends. I know that I don't mean to be evasive. There are certain times of the day and certain routes that we have pretty full loads. And obviously there are other times when they're pretty light. So we certainly have, for the most part, excess capacity right now, more seats that we can fill. So we would be glad to do it. Right now, courtesy of the state, we're running fare free from April 1st through June 30th. So you don't need to pay anything to ride any seat service at all.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, the number.
Yes, would someone like to make a motion?
I don't have, I have to go back to my book. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I'll move them. No, I'll move the figure of 95,456.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Sessa Marrero, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. All those opposed? Abstentions? Great. Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Carroll.
You're
Better.
very welcome.
Yep. Thank you for all of your service. It's a really great asset that we have in the area. I'd like to see that expanded if we could, maybe in the future.
Yeah,
We-
ditto.
we would love to do it. We're all about trying to expand and grow the service.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next account on this area is 10833, the Connecticut Probate Court. Do we have anyone here to speak on that?
The judge wasn't able to make it tonight. Just to point out, though, that we're required to pay this amount legally.
So the asking amount is 13,433. Do I have a motion for that number?
So moved.
Marrero moves.
Second.
Seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstentions. Excellent. All
I'd
right.
just like to comment, they do a great job.
They really do.
Thank you. So we're moving on to our account 1051, that's Human Services. You'll find it on page 131 of your budget book. And I will say, what do I know?
73.
Here we go. So I believe we moved this all as one number, correct, Mr. Burt?
For the health service agencies, no, we go line by line.
For Human Services?
It's
1051.
health and service agencies.
I'm so sorry. I am all over the place today. 172. It's my fault. Right. Okay, so that's on page 172, Health and Service Agencies. I skipped them on the agenda, my fault. So Steve Mansfield reached out to me yesterday saying he wouldn't be able to make it. I believe this is another account that we're legally required to pay the amount that's on here. So I think we're all pretty familiar with Ledgelate and what they've done for our community throughout the pandemic and of course prior and onward into the future. Is there any comments or questions for the committee that Mr. Burt maybe might be able to answer for us or try, or we can bounce back to Mr. Mansfield?
Yeah, I have a question. I'd like to know if they've been funded sufficiently. I'm always looking for alternatives to those golf course bathrooms on the ARPA funds. So can you tell us, Mr. Burt, if they've had all the money that they need, because they have been truly heroic in the last couple of years?
Last I talked to Steve, they were doing very well, yes. Of course,
Okay.
they get to pass on their, once their board sets the amounts we're required to pay, so they make sure they set it well, good enough to pay for what they need.
Uh-huh.
But they do a great job of keeping the cost down. And there's a lot of grant dollars flowing to them, so they're doing pretty well.
Okay,
Representative Bailey, do you have a question?
Yes, for the town manager. As a total for health and service agencies, 1084. I have a spreadsheet that was sent out on the 20th of April to everybody. And so some of these values may have changed. Is that correct?
Yeah. This one hasn't, but yeah, there's a food items had changed.
Okay,
County service
you-
agencies and then Mystic River Ambulance. But this one has remained the same.
okay, I appreciate that. If you could just give us a heads up on the line items that when they come about. Thank you.
I hear a motion for a number.
oh, I had it and I've lost, so yeah. I'll move the number of $291,798.
Bailey, second.
All those in favor?
I,
All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, that passes in the amount of $291,798. Moving on, sure my notes are correct. We are on 1084-1. That is the VNA School Health, the school-based health clinics. Do we have anybody from the VNA School Health here to speak?
Yes, Gail Heashy.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Would you like
You're
to say
welcome.
anything about this account?
Well, what I want to qualify here is there is a rate increase that, we put into the budget. And the reasoning behind that is, we have a significant RN nursing shortage going on now. And we are also beholden to a collective bargaining agreement. So we did give increases to our nurses, partly because of inflation, for retention reasons. It's a tough market. So we did have to pass some of that on in this budget. I also want to point out that there really isn't a significant change in the number of RN hours that, we are projecting. There is a decrease in the 8 hours. And actually, we're back to full tilt as far as providing school nursing services in all the schools post-COVID.
Thank you, Gail. Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Doolittle, Director of Pupil Services. Just wanted to share with you all that the nurses and the school health aides have been a vital part of our school community, servicing students, staff, and families throughout the pandemic. We have partnered with them very well. Not sure we would have been able to get through the past 2 years without them. They have taken on an exceptional amount of work during the pandemic. And they have been really essential workers. So we thank the VNA and we very much enjoy our partnership with them. So I'd like to endorse their budget and recognize them for the work that they've done throughout this pandemic to support our whole community.
Thank you. Representative Surf, did you have a question?
yes, how many nurses do you have in the program?
Well, all total, because we cover more than Groton, we have over 60 nurses that just staff the schools. And, in Groton alone, we have 4, 6, 8. We have about 10 nurses with also some floats that are available.
Because you have a 20% increase here, which I would understand, with COVID, but the thing is, next year, if COVID is gone away, you know, are we going to be paying increases on top of that already 20% this year? Because in that
Well-
case, we would have been better off giving them bonuses and then going back to a more normal rate.
The only caveat here is we have a collective bargaining unit. So we did give salary increases to our staff, again, for retention purposes, because it's a really tough market to hire RNs. We expect that next year we will have to give another increase due to the same reasons. We actually have at this time, we're budgeted for 50 positions for just our care of the sick, and we only have 25 positions filled. On the school nursing side, it's a little bit of a different story. We are pretty adequately staffed except for one district, but it is really challenging to find nurses right now.
And specifically in terms of the school district, we have 10 RNs and we have 7 school health aides. And that does include Sacred Heart School, which we've provided a nurse for over 25 years, and 1 float nurse that's been essential in covering illnesses.
Okay, so, but is this figured then just for salaries? Is it cover medications and whatever supplies?
Just salaries. The board provides medical supplies to stock the nurses' offices.
Still seems pretty high for 10 nurses and what, 7 aides? So it's, well, so what is it average salary per nurse? Could you tell us that?
The average per hour is $46 an hour.
Gadzooks. I'm gonna go back and re-educate myself. So, I mean, they do a really important job, and especially, I understand the last couple of years, but is it gonna be like that forever, that we have to pay that amount of money? Because that's a much higher salary than I think a lot of the professionals that we employ in the town.
Well,
Or
to be honest with you, we did do a market analysis on school nursing salaries. And, you know, we pay our nurses these rates because, again, going back to the collective bargaining agreement, we're beholden to that. I think if we did not have one, there could be a difference between the salaries paid to the in-home nurses and the school nurses. But we don't have that ability, you know, having a union in place.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand that, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, well, the difference is that I think in many of the school districts, the salaries are a bit lower than what we are paying. But again, because we have a union, and this was something that was negotiated back some years ago, that the salaries are in line with our care of the sick nurses. So there isn't a difference as to what a school nurse is paid as compared to a care of the sick nurse who goes in and out of homes.
Yeah, and Gail, I do want to also add that the contract also includes the services of our nursing supervisor.
Correct.
Leah Hendricks, who coordinates all of the professional development, the training, the hiring, assignments, covers for, you know, arranges for absences, and is really a liaison for the district when it comes to more complex medical cases.
Okay,
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, can we move a number, please? The original ask.
okay, hold on. This is not for 10842, this is just 10841, right?
Yes, 10841. They're asking for 1.2 million.
Right, okay, I'll move the figure of $1,229,144.
Do we hear a second?
Ally second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you so much for coming out and speaking with us.
Thank you all
Thank you
for your
very
support.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on, we have the VNA Health Promo, which is a different program. I believe this runs through the senior center. They do some health clinics, wellness visits, that kind of thing. Are either of you, Denise or Gail, staying to speak on that? Do we have someone?
Actually, it's Gail, because this is our town services and clinics.
Okay.
So we continue to provide blood pressure clinics and foot care clinics, which are very popular in particular, to a lot of different places within Groton, the senior center being one. And actually, our attendance has really gone up considerably within the last 6 to 9 months, since many of the seniors are now vaccinated, and COVID has now become sort of a way of life, and the fear of going out has kind of waned. So our numbers they're actually continuing to go up, and we feel that we're really targeting quite a few of the citizens and making an impact in their lives.
Yeah, I can just comment here. As a senior person who's just had Omicron and I'm dealing with a pulmonary embolism as a side effect of Omicron, I could very much have used your services, and I will as soon as I'm allowed to fly back from where I am right now, which I'm not allowed to. So any kind of service like that you can provide in advance, what a prophylactics basically, and information for people, I think is invaluable. So I will happily move the figure of $42,984.
Thank you, Representative Serf. Do we have a second?
Bailey, second.
I heard Semeraro first on that one. Sorry, Bailey.
That's okay.
No, you're fighting for it. All those in favor? Sorry, is there any?
Aye.
No,
Aye.
favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Great. Thank you so much for coming out and speaking on that account.
Thank you so much to everyone.
Have a good one.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. So we're moving on to account 10843. It's the Groton Ambulance. Was this one of those accounts, Mr. Burt, that got changed?
No, it remained at 341,700.
Okay. Alrighty then. Do we have anyone from Groton Ambulance who's come to speak on this account?
I don't see anyone. He had sent quite a bit of information a little while back.
Yes, I did get that. Do we have any questions? I'm sorry?
I can relay any questions the council has. Or the RTM
Okay.
committee, sorry.
I have a question. I had a lot of trouble with the ambulance service, not with the service, but with the bill. I have excellent retiree insurance from Verizon, and everything goes through my other Aetna Medicare, which it is now, or it used to be United Healthcare Medicare, except for the ambulance bill. And I imagine that's making it kind of hard for them to get their bills paid, because the bill was actually sent to me and I had to really jump through hoops to get my insurance company to pay for it. Do you have any idea if they're streamlining that, John, so that they can get paid like everybody else?
I don't think that's a budget question, but if Mr. Burt would like to respond.
I could reach out to him. I'll
Okay.
get back.
Thank you.
Just in the interest of saving money in general, the billing is one of these things where people, and insurance companies, where you spend a ton of time. So it kind of is a budget question. So I would like them to be as efficient as possible.
Any other questions on their request for $341,700? Do we hear a motion for a number? Oh, Representative Bailey, you have a question?
Yes, it's for the town manager. It's quite a big increase. I really don't know why.
Hold on one sec.
That's
I
okay.
think we're just trying to get up to where they should have been. I think, they've been struggling for a while, and he did send quite a bit, trying to find if I have the information with me. He sent quite a bit of stuff out in advance, in a few weeks now, though.
Yes.
Also, I hadn't noticed that it was such a big increase. But see, aren't these the kinds of things that we should be paying the extra money due to COVID for out of the ARPA money?
We generally try to stay away from something that's a recurring cost, because all you do is diminish what you're paying and have to make up for it and boost things later. It's really meant more for one-time payments. And I'm looking at their budget for the Groton Ambulance. It looks like they're through all their personnel line items, it's up about 200,000. What else they have? Some of the
Yeah.
background testing, some of the requirements have gone up significantly. So, if you take a look at what he sent out and send questions, I'll be happy to get answers.
Yeah, it looks like it's the same issue that we're having everywhere, which is labor costs, staff,
labor
people,
costs.
people cost money, right? They deserve to get paid and paid well for what they do, especially in a service like this. I do remember last year they had a pretty significant increase in their ask. Though offhand, I don't remember if they got it all. I think they did, but
Yeah, because it went from 52,000 for actual 2021.
Yep.
To 105,000 for 2022, and
Yeah.
now 341,000 for 2023. So that's
So-
kind of a huge, that's like a doubling almost every year.
right.
Tripling actually this year.
And so last year was a little difficult because we were still in kind of the midst of COVID. I don't see that that's entirely driving these costs. Mr. Burt, could you please explain what CNR stands for? It's in the expenditure summary. That looks
The
like-
ambulance. Hold on. Let's
What's
see
that?
here. Where's that under?
It's under the expenditure summary, last page, page 4, cost number 900. There's a doubling. I was wondering what the acronym was for.
Which actual document? Is it the attachment in the budget?
Yeah, yes, actually, you know what? I think it looks like it's operating contingencies. That's where that number is coming from. Interesting. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion on a number for the Groton Ambulance?
Okay, I will move, let me see, I've lost my page. Okay. Lost my page now because I was looking for something else. Does anybody else have a number under the?
I have it in front of me. It's their ask is $341,700.
Okay, I'll move that number.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Samarero, discussion on the number? Surf, Samarero. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions?
Bailey, no,
Bailey's opposing?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so that number passes $341,700 for the Groton Ambulance. Next, we have service agencies, account 10845. The request on
Sorry.
the request on this is $105,452. Mr. Burt, would you like to speak on this?
It's been, the town council reduced that to 90,452. They had reduced New London Homeless Hospitality Center from 15,000 to 10,000. And then they had reduced Thames River Heritage Park from 20,000 to 10,000. I will note that I request homeless hospitality be funded at the full 15,000. We have quite a homeless issue here in town. We're starting to deal with. I just visited 2 camps today, and we're going to need a lot more funding going forward to deal with this. So I do recommend increasing the funding.
So
And
they,
we have several people in attendance from different agencies. See a few people. If there's
okay,
any questions, they may be here.
thank you. I do have a procedural question. So council lowered this budget by $20,000, it looks like. And we are held to the highest of either the manager or the council. Is this a total number we need to reach? Or is it line by line? Is it line by line?
It's done as the total number. But if there's something you want to put back, then we just do that.
So this is my ask particularly. If I want to increase the allotment for the homeless hospitality center over your number and take it out of a different number, as long as the total does not exceed 105,000, is that acceptable?
Yes, it is.
Great, thank you. All right, so before we take questions from the committee, I just want to say, I think we'll go line by line on these, and then have a reckoning for a final number. Mr. Burt, do we need to take a vote on every agency?
No, it's no, you'll do a motion to start off with for the 90,452, and then you would do amendments for on the total for what you want, but explain what change you want within
Okay.
it.
All right. I'm sorry, did you say they changed it to 98,452?
90,452.
90, that's what I thought. Okay,
And
All right.
you want to put it back to 105, right?
I was just
that's an
Okay.
option of the committee. We can't go higher than 105.
Right.
So as we see these numbers and adjust or accept, keep in mind that it cannot exceed 105, though it can go below 90, which is what the town council came up with. All right, let's begin with the New London Homeless Hospitality Center. Do we have anyone here to represent this agency?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Anna.
Hi.
Do we have
How are
a
you?
last name for the record?
Perch, Perch.
Great, thank you so much. Please tell us about your organization.
Somebody, and forgive me, I'm not sure exactly who it was just now. Was it Chairman Gautier who spoke about the hospitality center a minute or so ago?
No, that was Town Manager Burt.
Okay, hi. Well, I just want to reiterate everything that he said and really appreciate it. You know, the Homeless Hospitality Center has been in existence since 2007, and the town of, and we're really reaching a point where we want to try and focus on the fact that we are truly a regional shelter. And although the majority of people that we serve will identify their next address and their last address as New London, if they identify it at all. Norwich and Groton are the other two big towns that we serve with our emergency shelter. We also, though, this year and during COVID, had the unique opportunity to start to identify some other needs that we could address. And we are starting to provide counseling to renters and to homeowners, HUD certified housing counseling to homeowners at our new housing resource center, which with the goal of staving off homelessness before it begins for all residents of Southeastern Connecticut, with a special focus on the areas right around New London. So that would be the main reason for sort of testing the waters to see if our towns who support us currently will support us at a larger number to increase those services, or really more importantly, to continue be able to safely continue the services of the emergency shelter while we expand in other areas. In a lot of cases now, people from Groton can come to us for help with foreclosure assistance and rental assistance and never become homeless. And you may never know, that happened because they're not in an emergency situation any longer.
Excellent. So I'll start off the questions. Pie in the sky, how much do you need? How much would you like?
Well,
Shoot.
I felt, our budget this year is $3.4 million. I would say 60% of that is covered by government contracts and things that we're working on, but everything else is, we rely on foundation grants and our town support and our and individuals to meet the rest of our budget. So if I just keeping the town of Groton in line with all of the other towns, my dream was that every town would if they're already participating, that they would consider doubling their participation. And then I'm spending more time trying to get several of the towns who are not participating at all to see the value in having the Homeless Hospitality Center there. So 15,000 was my pie in the sky for this year. And I realize it's more than double what we received last year. So for that, we would be really impressed and grateful for the support.
Thank you. Yeah, so I absolutely love hearing the proactive approach, treating the issue before it becomes an issue. I think that's so great that you guys are expanding services to folks, and I think that that's the kind of work that really helps over the long term. I think we've all seen in Groton the increase in need over the past couple of years. And I know there's some kind of local grassroots organizations, but having a foundation like this has been really helpful. I'm going to hear Representative Cerf's comments and questions before I move a number.
Okay.
I
have a question. Representative Bailey mentioned that there's a spreadsheet for each one of these, but I don't see the amounts for each one of these asked. Did I just not open the right email, or where, or is that somewhere in the budget book? Where can we see the individual numbers?
The budget book has it on 174. I don't
174.
Yeah, if you just flip the next page, it's got the table.
Yeah, the budget book is the only one that breaks it all down.
Yeah.
But however, the homeless hospitality was lowered from 15 to 10, and
Okay.
the Heritage Park from 20 to 10.
I'm having trouble scrolling to 174. Aha, here we go. I got it. Okay, my second question is kind of silly, but it has nothing to do with the homeless, which I think is a great program, and I think you're going to be getting a lot more customers this year. Which agency is it that asked for the skateboard in the skateboard park, John?
I think that's under the recreation committee.
Oh, so that's not us.
that's
That's
not
not the Thames River. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that one. Okay, that's all the only question I had.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion for $25,000 for the Homeless Hospitality Center. My thinking is that I'm happy with all the other numbers that the council put forward, and that we can still move the same number. We'll still be moving a reduced number, but taking pretty much 10K out of the Thames River and sticking it here in the Homeless Hospitality Center. So my motion is for $25,000.
We actually, it's an overall number, so it should be for 105.
We wrote, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move the whole number, 105,452.
Okay, I thought we were gonna go and break down the individuals and then move the number. Mr. Burton.
No, they don't even do that. The council, they just give us direction where they want the money.
Okay, so I guess my question is then, does it even matter what we want to allot to each individual agency? Or do we
No, it
just?
doesn't. You just have to explain it to us. If you go up to the 105 and say the 15,000 goes into homeless, that's what we do.
Okay, I guess then I will amend. Do other members support the number? I guess it would be.
But do we want to hear from the other people who have actually showed up here?
No, of course, yes, but yes, you're right. I'm trying to make sure my math cracks out
We,
here.
we can actually move the figure first, second it, and then discuss,
Yeah,
right?
let's do a figure first. You're right. I'll make a motion for 105,452.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, now we're in discussion mode. I want to throw 10,000 extra on the homeless hospitality center. But we will hear, sorry?
15 from where the council approved though, right?
No, right, 15 from
council
where the
approved.
council approved, correct.
Right.
So I would be recommending $25,000 on the homeless hospitality center.
I'll second that.
Okay. But let's continue through and we can rack this out at the end. Do we have anybody from SCAD to speak?
I only see a couple of people. I see Catherine Foley from James River Heritage. I recognize the other names.
I'm here from Safe Futures.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm Margaret Susoff from Safe Futures. Yep.
All right, would you like to speak on Safe Futures then?
Sure. Well, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and we'd like to thank for the support we've had from the town of Groton for several years. And although I don't live in Groton, I agree with your choice of adding more money to New London Homeless Hospitality, because we work quite closely with them. We also serve the homeless population, but you know, they are really the homeless providers in the area. And but we ourselves, we serve victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and trafficking. And we have seen throughout COVID quite an increase of who we're serving. Last year in FY21, we had a 39% increase from the previous year. So we do depend on the support from the towns that we serve, because we do serve all 21 towns in New London County. So we do appreciate the support from Groton. And, you know, if anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee for Ms. Susel?
I just have a comment, which is that since I was on the council 10 years ago and went to one of your presentations, I've enormously appreciated what you do. The work that you do is really invaluable. And I know there's been a big increase in domestic violence with COVID. I guess people are spending too much time at home together. So it's really important that you're there, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. And it is true, actually across the state, and actually across the nation. Anytime there's like COVID or a hurricane or something like that, incidents of domestic violence do go up. But with COVID, you're right, people were in place together, and you know, they really for many months there, people couldn't leave, you know, so that's partly why. But even now with, you know, some of the restrictions, as people have been saying, have been lightened up throughout COVID, but we're still seeing an increase. So thank you.
We also have Trisha Cunningham from Always Home.
Hi, good evening. I am happy to be here and happy to join you all, and representing Always Home and our organization. Some of you might be familiar with us. We've been here based in Mystic since 1998, and our mission is preventing family homelessness, and we work a lot with New London Homeless Hospitality Center and Safe Futures. So we have a good group of organizations here before you tonight. So thank you for all of your support. We did not ask for an increase this year, but that being said, I'm sure we'll be reaching out to you about ARPA funds. Just a little bit of, you should have our proposal, but in the previous fiscal year, we helped about 47 families, and Groton families specific, maintain housing stabilization. And of our budget, 28,778 went to direct financial assistance to Groton families. Our organization has some similar programs to New London Homeless Hospitality, except one of the differentiating factors is our organization focuses specifically on families. So individuals who have minor children 18 and under. So that's one of the core differences that we have. And we also have some other wraparound programs where we can help with transportation challenges. We receive car donations at times and are able to fix it up and give it to a family in need, help with their car repairs so that they can still get to work. And if there's any kind of employment training that needs to take place, we can assist with that financially. And also childcare. Emergency childcare is a big one that we assist with, where a family might be applying for care for kids, state funding for their childcare, but there's a time gap there where we can help with that, fill that time gap and pay for that childcare cost. But a lot of what we do is in back rent support, rental assistance in general, or if someone's finally found an apartment that will accept them, which is getting more and more difficult in this climate, we can help with security deposit, and depending on the budget and how much they have saved, part of that first month's rent, knowing that they have a path forward to pay for that rent. So that's a little bit about what you do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Trisha.
We also have behavioral health services. Cheryl?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank, Trisha, does Marlon Benker work for you? Oh, she's muted.
Yep, sorry, I muted. Okay. She does. She's amazing. She is our social worker. She's been with us for 11 years. Can you believe that? So she is part of our team, and so grateful for that.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that she's busy as a hornet. So I know that you, I know that you guys are working hard. And I wanted to thank you as well for your services.
Thank you. Well, it takes everybody pulling together. So thank you to the town of Groton for being part of our success.
Thank you. So do we have someone from UCFS?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, would you like to tell us a little bit about your agency?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. I'm representing United Community and Family Services. We've actually been in the Norwich area since 1877. So UCFS provides comprehensive medical, dental, elder care, and behavioral health services. Specifically, what we're asking for support from Groton for is around our comprehensive behavioral health services. So we include individual, family, group, and couples counseling for children and adults of all ages. Our services address mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, substance use disorders, post-traumatic stress, and among other things. We have a medication assistant treatment program to treat clients with opioid use disorder. We have licensed psychiatrists who provide evaluation and medication management. And really, the town funding would support our clinical interventions for our low income and sliding fee scale clients or uninsured individuals. UCFS is a federally qualified health center. So what that means is that we do receive some funds from the federal government, and our mission and also our requirement is to provide services to every individual regardless of ability to pay. So while we do have a sliding fee scale, if somebody cannot meet that sliding fee scale, we never deny service. So that is who we are. And from in the last fiscal year, we saw 225 Groton residents for behavioral health, and a total of 648 Groton residents for behavioral, medical, dental, and that was for 4,545 behavioral health treatment visits. So any questions for me?
Any questions from the committee?
Have you had a big increase in behavioral health problems with COVID?
Yeah, it's been a significant increase. And then with, I'm sure all the human service agencies can attest with this great, resignation. There's been an increase in demand and a decrease in providers. So that's what's been particularly tricky. Additionally, with the opioid use, we're seeing
Yeah.
a significant increase. New London County has the highest rate of overdose in the state. So, all of those pieces together, we're seeing huge increases. And also, we're not in Groton, but we do have a number of school-based health centers. And I used to work for community health centers, and then I was a middle school teacher for 17 years. And now I'm back with community health centers. This is my first love and my mission. But we're seeing a huge increase in behavioral health needs for children as a result of, as we believe, as a result of COVID. Yeah.
So I just have one more question, and that is for Mr. Burt. Aren't all these organizations, candidates for ARPA funds? And wouldn't that
Yes.
be? Yes. Now, so as far as I can make out, that the whole ARPA fund thing isn't settled yet. Is that
Well,
correct?
some money's been allocated. We're anticipating, though, the council will likely approve next Tuesday going out for applications. So all these agencies will be sent applications to formalize what they'd already asked. And so we expect that to move forward pretty quickly.
And is that going to be in addition to the amounts that we see here, because they weren't allowed to increase
Yes,
their ask?
it would be separate. Yes. It would be on top
Okay.
of,
So it's going to be in addition to
yes.
what we see here. Okay, thank
Correct.
you.
Do we have any other representatives of any other agencies?
We have Catherine Foley from Thames River Heritage Park.
Yes, hi, this is Catherine
Hi.
Foley, Thames River Heritage Park. I am here really just once again to thank you for your support in past years and to seek your support going forward. We've requested $10,000, which is the same amount that's been requested of the other two municipalities engaged in the park. The additional 10 that we had requested, as you may remember, is going to be requested through ARPA funding, which was the intention. So we will be moving that forward. Thames River Heritage Park, as you know, it really came together by a group of volunteers in the community, the elected officials and so on, to really make a difference along the Thames and begin to promote the heritage sites, both within the region and beyond. So to promote tourism and economic development, and to help really further engage those sites in terms of volunteerism, in terms of visitation and so on. This past year, we started the Docent Academy in March. We will be graduating 26 people on May 12th from the Academy. We have also been doing a monthly lecture series on the different sites and so forth in the park. And we're really excited about that. These folks who are going through the academy have visited all the sites, are very excited about volunteering in them, and are going to be ambassadors for not only the heritage sites, but our region. Tomorrow they'll be at the Gard Arts Center, learning about its history and its programming, and learning about arts and culture in the region. They've been at Groton and Avery Point, and I'm sorry, not Avery Point, over at Fort Griswold. Next week, they will be over at the Submarine Force Library and Museum. So they're really getting a really good taste of what the park offers, and what it offers both in terms of tourism and what it contributes to the economy locally. So your continued support is really greatly appreciated. But before I go, I do, if you don't mind, adding my 2 cents on the New London Homeless Hospitality Center. I served as the former executive director of Covenant Shelter for a few years, and I can honestly say, as Anna mentioned before, the folks who are getting services at the Homeless Hospitality Center and the other centers that really help support people who are in need come from all over the region. And I applaud your commitment to really supporting those efforts too. It's really greatly needed and really makes a big difference in the lives of a lot of people. So thank you for your time and appreciate your support for Thames River Heritage Park and all you're doing both in Groton and its impact in the greater community. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for coming out tonight. Representative Cirque, is your hand up for a question?
Very quick question. Have you at all been successful in encouraging General Dynamics Electric Boat to clean up their property on Thames Street and to engage with you in beautifying the community?
Actually, that's not directly a role of Thames River Heritage Park, not to say that we aren't trying to engage them, we very much are. But I do know from my discussions with Sierra Patrick over in the city of Groton that there is also work about really trying to kind of revitalize that whole Thames Street area and that they're really working hard on that area. So
okay,
I hope that
thanks.
answers your question. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Any other representatives from any other agencies?
Not that I see.
Okay. Would any other members of the committee like to discuss the numbers proposed as listed in this table? I mean, we could go through and just preliminarily go over the amounts, and if you want to make a change, go ahead and throw your hand up or say something. So SCAD, we didn't hear anything about. That's requesting 4,000, which hasn't changed from the council. Safe Futures requesting 9,600. Arc of New London County 1,500. Connecticut Legal Services 7,260. UCFS requesting 4,000. Always Home 4,750. Sexual Assault Crisis Center of Eastern Connecticut requesting $2,000. Meals on Wheels TVCCA requesting 31,342. Children First Groton requesting 5,000. Thames River Heritage Park requesting 20,000, which the council reduced to 10,000, which was what they received or requested last year. And then Southeastern Connecticut Cultural Coalition for 1,000. Did anyone want to talk about any of those specific lines?
Well, I'd happily double them all, but they'll get another chance, right?
Representative Semeraro, was that you? I think I heard.
Sorry,
No.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh,
No.
on any of that or?
Question. No questions.
No questions. Okay, great. So I'll return. I did want to agree with the council's decrease in Thames River Heritage Park, moving that down $10,000. However, I'd like to move that up to New London Homeless Hospitality Center. The council reduced that number to 10,000. I'd like to restore them back to their $15,000 ask and increase it by the 10,000 moved out of Thames River. So that would put them at 25,000. Which would give us still a bottom line figure of $105,452.
I'll second that.
Okay. Everything else, though, would remain as listed and as approved by the council. So that was my motion. We have a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Bailey.
Yes, I would like to make another motion for the original number that was 90. Was that 90,452?
There's
No,
already a
I
motion.
no, I actually moved the manager's number, which was 105,452. So
Right,
you would be
he was trying to
moving if you would be moving a second number.
Yes.
Yes,
So
Okay.
you'd like
Yes.
to make your number, please, Mr. Bailey?
yes. if I heard that correctly, it was originally for $90,452. Maybe Mr. Burke could remind me.
Yes, you're correct. 94.52.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to move that number and just keep everything the same as it was distributed for that, under that number, please.
Okay, let me make a note of this real quick before I take a
All right.
second.
Yep.
All right, is there a second for Mr. Bailey's number of 90,452? Hearing none, that motion fails. Back to the original, is there any more discussion on 105,452? Nope, I'll take a vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Bailey,
All right, that number passes 150 or 105,452, with the adjustment being Thames River Heritage Park will receive 10,000 and New London Homeless Hospitality Center will receive 25,000. Let me
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this evening.
thank you for coming.
Thank
you
you
everyone
very
to represent your agencies. We appreciate all of the work you do for our community. Thank you so much. Reach out anytime with any other questions or support you might have for the RTM, from the RTM.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that moves us on to account 10847 marine sewage disposal.
We do have Pete Chapel live in person here. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Chapel? All right.
Well, I'll just have a quick question. Are you still doing Mouse Island?
Mouse Island does not fall under the state grant. It has nothing to do with the money the town gives us. They pay, there's a private boat that goes out and pumps them out. That they pay separately to do.
So who do you pump out?
We do the boats in the Mystic River, Thames River, and Fisher's Island.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
We don't do personal houses. We do the boats.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right. So they have requested a flat $19,980. Do we hear a motion for that number?
I'll move that number.
Bailey,
Yeah.
second.
Bailey, second. All right. Any discussion on this? All
No,
those in
it's
favor?
a hugely vital service. And we used to fight a lot about it in my day, but unfortunately people have finally accepted you do a very valuable service.
Yes,
Just
very
so you guys know, we took over 200,000 gallons out of the Mystic River last year, so.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for keeping the waters clean. All right, do we have we ready for a vote? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor
Yeah.
for 19,980?
I
All those opposed? Abstentions? Great, thank you so much for coming, Mr. Chapel.
Thanks for your support. See ya.
Have a good night. All right, moving on to the Mystic River Ambulance. Mr. Burt, you indicated that their number had changed.
Theirs it went from 45,000 up to 50,000 from the town council, and we do have representatives here. One of our esteemed dispatchers.
Yes. I do work full time for the town of Groton. So I'm Michael Gilman, the president of the association, and this is John Wilson, the treasurer. And what we requested was 45,000, and Councilor Bordelon felt it would only be fair if she raised it to 50,000, which we got last year. And what we do is we use the money from the towns of Groton and Stonington, and Stonington did approve the budget last night, for for capital improvement, tangible things you can see. So what we usually use it for is for our new ambulance account. But this year, I'm just getting over COVID. That's why I'm wearing a mask. We asked for the money for the ambulances, and the fire departments are going to the state radio system. So to outfit our 4 ambulances with 4 mobile radios and 2 portables per ambulance is around $40,000. Yeah, we need to pave our driveway, which is another $50,000.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the committee?
No,
Nope. All right,
I'll move the figure of $50,000.
Bailey,
have a
second.
great, thank you. You guys are moving faster than I can type. 50,000, Bailey seconds. All right, although, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, great. Thank you so much for coming out. Mr. River Ambulance, hope that you guys can make your improvements. $50,000. Wish we could do more. We can't go higher. Thank you. All right, our next account is the Mystic No Ink Library. Is there anyone available to speak?
Yes, she's on her way.
Thank you. And this account remained the same. I got my notes correct. All right, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your request for this fiscal year?
We have asked for an increase over last year and the 3 previous years. And we actually did pretty well during the COVID year. We had 60,000 visitors, 6,000 card holders, and 25,000 uses of Wi-Fi, which is, another growing library service. But this year, for the past quarter, we're actually doubling monthly uses in people visiting the library, getting library cards, and using the Wi-Fi. And one of the reasons why I think the visitors are increasing, the book circulation is steady. But when I look around the library, and I only moved to Groton about a year and a half, so I don't have a long history with the library, although the library has a very long history. But I see people using computers, fine, but printers, scanners, fax machine, copiers, really things that you would have in an office. But people are, they're either working from home or they're not working. And the library really provides a very nice way, I think, that people can come in and do their business. I was listening to all the presentations that came before and talking about the rise in homelessness. And our library is in Mystic, and I've seen homeless people in the library, which happens a lot because there aren't a lot of options. But I was thinking too, with so many health agencies, the public library really provides a lot of help for people, mental health, and as well as information. And Groton is fortunate to have 3 wonderful libraries. I think it's a great service to the citizens. Very nice main library, and then Mystic and Noank and Bill, which I consider almost branches in those 2 geographic areas. So our costs have gone up, as you've heard from so many other people, but one of the costs that really surprised me is our property and casualty insurance for that beautiful building went up from $17,000 to $28,000 this year because of the age of the building. And we pay all of the costs for that building. And the building is a treasure, open to everyone. And I'll tell you, the utilities for it, this isn't even the repair of the roof and chimney, which we just had to go through. But it's about $100,000 a year just to keep it going. So we're having a really hard time meeting those costs. So that's why we asked for an increase this year.
Thank you for that information. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee?
Yes. Do you get your insurance from the same company that the town of Groton gets its insurance from?
We get our health insurance for our employees from the town of Groton, but we pay for it. But we get in on their plan, which is wonderful. It's a very robust plan.
But
it's
not
very
their,
expensive.
not their, what was the one that went up from 17 to 28? Is that property casualty?
Casualty. I don't know where Groton's insurance is from, but we have a local insurance agent. And it used to be Sound Insurance, and they've recently been bought out by another local agency. And so that's where we get it. And we're currently insured with Philly. We had people like Travelers and some of the other insurance companies he went out to because of the increase. Didn't even want, they declined it because of the age of the building.
Yeah, I'm for a long time, I've had a lot of objections to these, it seems yearly increases of at least 10% on insurance, even in the town of Groton, but I'm wondering if you could get a better deal. I don't know, John, Mr. Burt, if it would be possible to include the library with your insurance and get a better deal for them.
I'm not sure. Wonder, without us owning the buildings, I'm not sure. However, we could certainly look at it. Reach out to me.
Because I mean, I know that you make every penny count. I love your library, by the way. And you make it, as so many people use it. And especially, I think a lot of it is internet service, you know, that you provide. When people really, internet service becomes so expensive. And that's one of the first things that they cut if they really have to cut expenses. And then but they absolutely have to have your library to compensate for the fact that they can't have it at home. So I really appreciate everything that you do. And I know, as I said, you make every penny count. So if there was some way we could help you out with the insurance, it would be great.
Great, thank you.
But by the way, excuse me, one more question. What about the town of Stonington? Are they, we used to have big fights about that all the time. Are they paying their quote unquote fair share?
Yeah, they have been actually the past 3 years, the town of Stonington paid $111,000 and the town of Groton paid $115,000.
Wow, that's a miracle.
Yeah, they over about 3 years ago, they came up with a formula for the libraries. And so as you can see, it's almost equal what Groton is paid. And yet we're in Groton and the use is really 60-40 Groton.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from the committee? No. Do I hear a motion for a number?
Yeah, I'll move. Oh, I'll move the amount of 150,000.
Bailey, second.
Bailey, second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Great. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Bill Memorial Library. They're asking for $35,000 here. Any representatives from that library to join us?
We're on their way up. We have Wendy Connell and Rob Giuliani. Oh, sorry, Jen. Sorry.
Wendy is also recovering from COVID, so she sends her regrets for not being here. We thank the committee for their support in the past. You've always been very generous with us, and we appreciate that. We just wanted to let you know about some of the things that are happening at the Bill. We are, number one, proud of the fact that we've kept our staff working full-time throughout the pandemic. There have been no layoffs or decreased hours. Throughout the pandemic, we offered 24-hour Wi-Fi access as well as contact-free printing, faxing, and copying service, with the exception of 2 weeks that we used to refinish our wood floors, so we made good use of that time. We also offered special hours during the pandemic for older adults or immunocompromised patrons so that they could feel more comfortable entering the building without a crowd. Our program attendance has returned to pre-pandemic levels, and our children's programming has actually exceeded pre-pandemic levels because we're using our outdoor space to its greatest advantage. We're also exploring ways to enhance our outdoor classroom to build on this success. We've invested in audio equipment to enhance our virtual programming so that we can offer quality online experience for children's story time and sing-along. And we've expanded our collaboration with Groton Public and Mystic Noank libraries. We're working together to bring programs and services to the Groton community. In other words, the Bill Memorial has done exactly what libraries are supposed to do. We've improved people's lives, especially during the difficulties of the day. And I'm going to turn it over to Rob, our treasurer, who has some information for you.
I first want to offer appreciation to the town of Groton. The town really has 3 gem libraries within this community. Each represent the quality of intelligence throughout the town. After the Board of Education, libraries serve as the second intellectual learning bodies of the community. People come to libraries to learn, gather information, work, and seek entertainment. Generally, library patrons mostly seek knowledge. The best part about libraries is they're free. And to be honest, it's an honorable and appreciated process that the town has 3 libraries of such great stature. I'm going to talk first in regards to income. Groton Town grant for the library supports about 11% of our operations. The increase we're requesting is really a 1.8% jump over last year. A major part of funding comes from our bills investment portfolio, fundraising supplements, to our other operating expenses. The bill uses 100% of its annual investment income, plus market growth, to accomplish that. The bill avoids the use of principal investment, protecting the loss of income in future years. Mentioning some of our successful programs that are really cash flow disturbances. just projects that we've recently accomplished is we did a major roof repair the other year for $21,000. We did a major windows leak repair for $14,000. We've done a new floor throughout the whole library, and that was paid from a grant for $7,300. Didn't cost the library anything. Then we did another light grant, which we appreciated. We found our library director pulled out of nowhere for $19,000. And there's a bunch of small other projects that are just eating us, from the inside. It's mostly because of our maintenance on the building. In our new operating budget for this year, what's happening going forward? Our state minimum wages has an upsurge. It has resulted in an 8.7% hourly rate increase. And this was unavoidable. We have no choice. This is a state mandated program. Insurance itself is also, again, going up. Inflationary costs exceeding for program services, books, computers are really getting expensive. And tech services, they're all increasing at a major percentage. Key here is our new building and grounds complications. Each year we have something that always pops up. It destroys our cash flow and eats into some of our savings. For example, this year we are going to have a chimney liner and stone cap replaced by $6,000. We have deteriorating trees. Several months ago, we had a major branch come down in the backyard, and it was in the area where our summer programs with our kids are. So we had an arborist come out and look at all our trees. And we found out that they were all dying dead. And we're going to be replacing them at a cost of about $10,000 this year. Outside security lighting was going to be something close to $800. And there's other things that we need to do. I'm asking this committee, and also I also asked the town council if anyone has any chainsaw skills or stump removal skills, we'd sure would appreciate your help. We are really asking for your help again this year to assist to resolve these issues. Inflation affects everyone, including the libraries. If you have not visited the library recently, please come visit and see our new floors. I want to mention that on our website, we have some marvelous programs put on by Mary Jane Carlin, our library, children's librarian. She has put together some marvelous book stories and programs and sing-alongs. And you can see the videos on our website. I'm not supposed to mention anything about we have a person who puts on a large dog outfit, off the ears, jumping up and around in the background. We were sworn to secrecy. We're not supposed to tell who that person is.
Say who she is.
I won't say anything that really has to do with the director. I won't mention any names. It was mentioned at the town budget proposal for the Mystic Noack Library that they have cats in the library. I mentioned that we have dog. We have one big dog, and it's a wonderful asset to our programs. Overall, I bring your attention, these individual expenses that are really disturbing our operations. And we do need your help. And I want to thank you for your time and assistance. And we'd like to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Representative Sir?
Just a quick comment. I've always admired how you financially manage. I think you have an endowment for the Bill Library, and it's amazing, once again, how you extract every penny of value from that and keep things going. I was going to suggest that you go to a website called, I don't know if you know about Nextdoor. It's a community kind of a website thing, but more and more people are going. And very often, if you need help with something, you say you need help with whatever, and lots of people are willing to volunteer some time, to help out. So it might be, it's a suggestion, it might be an asset for you to go there. They kind of like showing off to all the other next door people, that they can help out and stuff. So you might try that.
We'll look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the committee? Do I hear a motion for a number?
I'll move $35,000.
Bailey, second.
Great. All right. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All those opposed? Abstain? All right. Thank you so much. That passes $35,000.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So where does that leave us? That's 9A. That puts us at Human Services at 131. All right, so we have the Human Services account 1051 on page 131, and they are asking for $500,800. $500,089,973. Do we have anyone here to speak on this account?
Marge Pandulis is with us online.
Hi, Marge.
Good evening, everyone. Marge Fundulis, Director of Human Services. The budget, as I presented it to John, to the town manager, is a level service budget. We've had no new positions in the department and have maintained pretty level service right along. We worked straight through COVID, of course, and we're very busy thanks to a very generous community that kept donating food and other resources to the department, and we were giving those out almost as fast as we were getting them in. So we were kept very busy all throughout COVID. We do have one position that is not filled in the department. I have left it vacant for the time being, and that is a youth counselor position, because we are still rebuilding our referrals primarily through the schools for youth counseling, for counseling of youth from the schools. And we are gradually seeing that increase. We're also gradually seeing the juvenile review board referrals increasing as well, so that at the present time, the one counselor that we do have on staff, the one youth counselor, is able to maintain a caseload, and did really throughout the pandemic. But I don't think we're at the point yet where I feel it's justified to bring in an additional counselor at this point. And the manager has been very understanding of that situation. I think as schools get back in full swing, then probably with the start of the fall, the next school year, we will really, if everything goes okay with COVID, then I think we will start to see a return to the number of referrals that we used to be getting. So I'm foreseeing that position will be filled ultimately, but I have not done anything with it at the present time. Aside from that, it's pretty much been business as usual, with an increase, of course, during COVID, an increase in people requesting food, an increase in, we were paying rents and utilities, but we weren't paying them as much as we might were there not the moratoriums in place that prevented evictions. And the utility company has a moratorium that it has for years now had during the winter months, that if you have a hardship, they will not terminate your service during that moratorium period. So it's been a steady, we've been busy steadily. The staff we have is adequate to meet the needs that we see. And we also are very interested in supporting, well, many of the outside agencies that you just discussed that provide services directly to Groton, and many of which utilize our facility, our building, our human services building, to post a worker and meet with individual clients from Groton right at our building, which we like nothing more than to have those resources available right in our building. So I'll stop there, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Thank you. So I do have a question. So you're funding 3, it looks like, youth service YFS counselors. Is that the youth counselor you spoke of?
We have 1 youth counselor and 3 social workers.
Okay, so, oh, sorry, that's my son. So yes, but just looking at the count, 1, 2, so you have 2 positions, 1's filled. So we're funding one of those positions, even though it hasn't been filled for quite a while. Do you anticipate being able to fill that within the next calendar year or fiscal year?
That's what I'm hoping for, yes.
Okay, so I guess. All right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Yes, I'm amazed also, once again, all you agencies that do good, really good works, manage to do it on an amount of money which I find unbelievably low. I hope you'll be applying for that ARPA money too. And I can vouch for the fact that people take the food, because I once brought food from the Noank Garden. I was told by one of your folks to leave it on the table, and you said it'd be gone by 5 o'clock. And sure enough, I brought the radishes right around that time, and they were swooped up within 5 minutes. Do people have enough food to eat? I mean, who else can they turn to besides your little table there to get food if they need it?
We certainly have a very well-stocked food locker that is available to people as often as they need it. We receive donations routinely from the community so that we rarely have to purchase any food or even put out a request for food, because it is readily available thanks to a very generous community. And persons needing food are also able to benefit from the United Way mobile pantry unit that goes to St. John's Christian Church on, I think it's, it's a monthly visit to St. John's. I'd have to check to see exactly I think it's on a Wednesday maybe, but I'm not positive. But at any rate, and that provides a large quantity of a combination of perishable and non-perishable food that is available, of course, free of charge, as is our food locker. So there are, and then, yes, we have any number, especially, of course, during the growing season, we have any number of gardeners that bring in fresh produce. We also are now resuming our pickups from BJ's. We get bread. We have a volunteer that picks up bread twice a week and brings it to our department. And we have people that readily come in to pick up the bread and pastries. So there's a pretty constant flow of food resources, and we are fortunate to have volunteers to help prepare food bags for people, to sort through the food. So it's a pretty well-oiled machine that we have in our food locker.
Well, congratulations. As usual, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion from the committee at this point for a number.
I'll move a figure of $589,973.
Ellie, second.
Bailey, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstentions? Thank you so much for coming out. Marge.
There's one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more number?
For
There's
human
one
services.
more.
The assistance fund.
Yeah.
Or did I do that? Did I miss that? Did you do
Page
both of them?
136.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. We have one more to go. Give me a moment to type up my notes. So account 7320, the Human Services Assistance Fund, looking for $10,000. Mr. Burt, has this number remained the same with the council?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say about this, Ms. Pandoulis?
The Perkins Fund, which is the account that we are currently utilizing under this heading of Human Services Assistance Fund. The Perkins Fund is as valuable as its predecessor, the Spicer Fund. It is another resource that we have been utilizing specifically to help families with children, families who need help with rent. So, and I explained to the council that as of January of this year, we had expended the full 10,000. We had helped 32 families with rent assistance and had exhausted that fund, which is okay because we have other funds that we can use for rent. So I am not looking to increase the allocation to this account because there's only on page 136, it talks about the fund balance is currently 22,000. So, or will, that's projected as of June of this year. So at 10,000 a year, we may have 2 more years that we're able to use this fund. And I'd like to stretch it out as best I can. And so therefore I have left it at the request at $10,000.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Yes, so the $144,000 that you talk about in the background part here, you've spent most of that already? Is that what you're saying?
Well, from the original 144,000, if my memory serves me correct, I believe that approximately 44,000 or 40,000 of that was immediately donated to what was then the fledgling Boys and Girls Club that we had in Groton. And so we didn't start out with that full amount that was specifically for our use in the department. But aside from that, we also started using the fund for part of it for our child abuse prevention campaign that we had on an annual basis. And we were going into the schools and the kids were creating posters for a calendar that we did every year that had to stop during COVID. We couldn't get into the schools to have the calendar created, but we also simultaneously realized that the more important use of the funding was to help with rent. So we as we saw the funds dwindling, we thought we need to focus on using it for rent. And if we get the child abuse prevention initiative back up and running at some point, we may use discretionary funds or a state grant if we get it. So we really need to focus on this account to help families with rent. And I also wanted to mention, Representative Sir, if you asked about ARPA, we are, there is money from ARPA that has already been designated for human services to use for what we're calling basic human needs, which includes such things as rent and utilities and help with everything under the sun, from childcare expenses to funeral costs, but everything has to be related directly to a COVID caused situation in a given family or household. So we have, in fact, just as of today, requested a check be cut from that ARPA money to help a young family in town with rent that it needed to avoid eviction. And it was a family that had lost employment during COVID. So we are very, very pleased to have that opportunity to utilize ARPA funding to help with rents as well.
It's too bad that 144,000 wasn't used as an endowment so that you could, get the interest. Of course, the interest rates have been 0 lately. So, but anyway, it's more than worthwhile. I'm trying to think of how you could get, more of an endowment so that it could pay you off some income yearly. But right now, I guess it's not too easy to do.
The interest rates are terribly low, but I know the town, as it did with Spicer, the town attempts to invest it to get some interest income, but the interest payments have been minute.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do we have a number out there already? I don't believe so.
I think it's $10,000, isn't it?
Has that motion been made is my question.
No.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move the $10,000. I don't see it in front of me, but yeah, I see it now.
Bailey.
Okay, I'll move the 10,000.
Bailey, second.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your interest and your support.
Thank you. How's everyone feeling? We've been at this for 2 hours. We got through, I think, the bulk of it. We can press on through the last 3 accounts. I think they should be pretty straightforward. Or anyone needing a break? Nope, we're all warriors. Excellent. All right, let's soldier through. Count 1001 on page 51, legislative policy.
Important thing, Lauren, is you got a new assistant.
Yeah, I got a lot of assistants running around.
Okay, 51.
Healthcare,
What's that?
even giving healthcare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, 1001. Wrong page. Give me a sec here. What page is that again?
51 in the budget book.
Page. Got it.
Looks like 46,850 is the ask.
Right, which is a reduction of $350. And that's mostly due to, as you know, we have the Travis Smith House. We weren't doing oil out of this one, and oil was moved over to heating oil. It was moved over to Public Works, so that was reduced. Really, the biggest thing in this budget is our CCM, our lobbyist membership. That's 32,000, about 32,000. Everything else, and then there's 9,000 for beautification committee, and the rest are just miscellaneous things we need. But the CCM is well worth it. We use them constantly for research and other things. Every municipality in the state's a member.
Gotcha. So I have a question, Mr. Burt. The initiatives you said, is that specifically for the beautification committee, or are there other programs being run through that?
It's just the beautification committee. That's what they have this year, and then that's what the council wanted to do for the upcoming year.
Okay. And do they already have planned work for that 9,000, or is that just kind of a bucket that they asked for?
They don't have it down to the penny. I know they're looking for some fencing, and I know there's enough stuff on there to spend more than that. It's just, will they have time to do it? It's really the question.
Right. And are there any other committees, town committees, that have line items in the budget? Mr. Burt?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any offhand.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion to reduce this budget by $5,000 to come out of that initiatives line. So I'd like to make a motion for $41,850.
Second.
Thank you. I'd like to discuss this a little bit. Pretty much from memory, though I of course don't have it right in front of me, when the beautification committee was started, it was mentioned that anything that they wanted to do, they were going to try to self-fund. And I understand that that can be difficult, especially for a group of volunteers. Though I think that there are a lot of other similar efforts going on as far as improving how the town looks, that this specific line item, I'd like to give it some support, but I think 9,000 until such time that there is more of a plan in place of what they want to do with that money. I hate the idea of just throwing money into a bucket for a committee to pull out of, especially if there's not a plan, and I mean, there's nobody here from the beautification committee, I guess, to speak on whether or not they have a plan, a budget, or any kind of their own fundraising going on. So I think it's prudent just to reduce that down. I don't think we need to be accumulating money on this line item for this one committee to use. And that's my argument there. Do we have any other motions for any other numbers? Nope. All right, so we'll take a vote on 41,850. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Bailey, that was aye. Semeraro. Oh, sorry. Any opposed? Representative Semeraro, how do you vote?
I oppose. I would keep it at the original number.
Okay. All right, thank you. So that passes 3-1 for 41,850. Sorry, it's bedtime. Good night, Henry. All right, now we can move on to the next account, which would be we don't have 1003. We have
Page
10.
64.
Sure, we can jump to page 64. I was gonna say 61 first, but that's fine. 64, executive management 1010. I believe this is Mr. Burt's office. They're asking for $309,093.
Right, which is a reduction of $8,900 and $8,907. Mainly because we got rid of the / assistant town manager. So we're still struggling in the office with, we used to have 3 full-time people, now we have 2. And we're not able to keep up with everything. So we're still trying to figure that out, but there's no request for anything.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the committee?
Yeah, I have a question. Does this include any salaries or?
It's all, yeah. Minor Lisa's salary, any trainings, publishing the budget, some of the money towards publishing, any mailings, we do a lot of that type of thing. It's everything to do with the town manager's office.
Okay, budget preparation, but why is that? Is budget preparation not done by your employees? Why do we have to pay an extra $50,000 for that?
That's just what they did is they divvied up my time into categories as part of my salary. I spend just like here, I spend a huge amount of time on budget. Cindy and I do more budget work than anyone else.
So it's part of, but wait a minute, so the total is 309. That's not your salary or Cindy's, but is that what, oh, that's the part of your salary and Cindy's that you allocate?
Well, in this, it's my part, the part that says that. Also Lisa does quite a bit of stuff. You know, Lisa's in this budget, the administrative assistant, one that sends out all agendas and everything else. But she actually does a lot of stuff for the budget too.
Mr. Burt, does any of that include some of the cost for like the physical binders that we get?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, copier, lease, that type of stuff, just the standard office stuff.
And what about the legislative support? What is that?
That stuff I do and Lisa does we both do for the council.
I'm sorry, I didn't really hear you. Can you say that again?
That's everything we do for the council. Everything
For the council.
Yeah, everything we
it.
do for agenda items and really
Okay.
this has been set up this percentage forever. It's not real accurate.
Okay, I think I have it.
All right.
All right,
So
I guess.
I'll move a number $309,093.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? Sorry, I'm just making my notes here. While I do, so would the cost of a mediator, say, be in one of these line items, Mr. Burt?
No,
All right, just wanted to ask.
it wouldn't come out of my budget. Matter of fact, that's gonna come back up on Tuesday next week.
Yeah, do you think you could put that at the, could you put that at the bottom of your very busy list?
It's actually gonna be on the agenda for Tuesday.
I totally can't take the embarrassment. I'm sorry.
All right, so thank you. All those in favor of $309,093?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? I'm sorry, what?
I'm in favor. Aye.
Hi, thank you. We'll get back together all in person eventually, I'm sure. All right, so that passes the full amount in our final account. We've made it through legal services 1006 is the account number. Page 61 of your budget book. The ask is for $297,500. Mr. Burt, would you like to say anything?
Sure. And this is one of those ones, basically whatever ends up costing us, it costs us, we have to just try to do our best guess to what that's going to be. This year, you're going to see a fourth quarter transfer. It's close. It's about $350,000 we're going to spend this year. That increase is almost solely due to tax issues, related to things like the reval. But typically, on a non-reval year, of course, we have other funds in reval, but typically, this is about what we run, maybe a little bit over, but this is about the standard. You see in 21, we hit 316, but that estimate's actually high for this year. It's gonna be like 350, I believe, unless something really unusual happens next month.
What, could you explain the special attorney and general support? That seems to have doubled.
The general support is to do with tax, things like foreclosures, and we try to build that back. So some of that comes back to the town. Melissa McGuire, the tax collector, she works with one of the attorneys, one that specializes in that, to go after taxes that haven't been paid. So then we get money back. So that's what that is, general support.
And forgive me for Mr. Burt being negligent on this discussion. I know there's discussion about the attorney himself about going out for bid for perhaps a new firm. Could you just fill me in on what happened with that discussion?
Yeah, they went out for bid and we retained the same firm.
Great, good to hear. Do we have a motion for a number?
Wait, I have another question.
Sure.
How come there's a figure of estimate for 2022 of 414,000?
Early on, when we were seeing a lot of the tax costs, we thought it was going to jump higher through the year because we do this halfway through the year. This number, that number, we do it late last year, and we were seeing a lot of tax costs that were high, and a couple potential. There's a couple of things out there for tax issues that could also turn into lawsuits that we're involved in court in. So we thought it was going to be higher, but it ended up not being as bad. But it's going to be about 350.
Okay, but none of this so far is due to litigation of our wonderful development projects that we love so much.
No, we haven't started any litigation with that.
No litigation so far.
No.
None projected for 2023.
I could possibly see, if we, depending on what we do, what happens, if the town pulled out, I'd see some. However, we're very well situated in that if that happened.
And that will be reflected in the budget if it happens.
Yeah, if something happens, yeah, we would have to, we'd have, like I said, we have, tax issues out there with Pfizer, with several others. If something weird happened and if something goes to court, well, then we have to up our budget during the year. It all depends. Sometimes we try to anticipate what court cases are going to go.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell because things take so long now to work through the courts.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion for a number?
I'll move $297,500.
Bailey, second.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Thank you so much, Mr. Burt, for your vigilance tonight, getting us through this last meeting. No, it was a slog trying to cram everything into 2 meetings. Thank you, committee members who came out, and I will hear a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
move-
Zimmer.
I
Second.
move to adjourn. And
Everyone's in favor. Love to hear it. Good night, everybody.
can we buy
Good night.
lollipops for the assistants?
One of them, maybe, but the other one's not quite old enough.
You were
Thank you.
heroic. You were heroic, Lauren, so thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Have a good night.